Welcome back to Kinh Doanh 101. I'm your host, Thuy Phan. Peter Nguyen is an entrepreneur who got a perfect SAT score in math and has won numerous accolades for his work in the digital marketing and ad space, and he's just getting started. At just 35 years old, he's making waves in the advertising world and is looking to expand his mark by signing one of the largest energy projects in Mexico. Peter Nguyen is what some people would call a serial entrepreneur. Having started his first business while he was still in college at the University of Florida, Nguyen got his first taste of entrepreneurship there. Fast forward 17 years later, a myriad of successful businesses and one very big award, and you could say Nguyen has reached the pinnacle of his career. But he's just getting started.
I got started in the space right in the beginning of this entire industry, the direct-to-consumer digital space. And so for me, I was a product owner. I had products that I wanted to sell online, and 17 years ago when I became an entrepreneur, I started selling t-shirts, Vietnamese American t-shirts to everything else in between, right? And I was selling 10, 50, 100 sales a day. It was making a decent living. It helped pay college for me, and then when the direct-to-consumer space. So if you think about advertising in two things, whether it's television, radio, or all the emerging medias, right? They're usually the big brands, the BMW, Coca-Cola ads who want to bring more brand awareness, and the other side is the direct-to-consumer direct response space, which is the proactive commercials you watch or the P90X, and those are direct-to-consumer where there's a call to action wanting someone to buy right now. And so the digital side, on the internet side, mobile, on your phone, and also on the computer, on the internet, that started to emerge about 10 years ago. And so there was people selling thousands of products and tens of thousands of products a day. And so I jumped into the space about 10 years ago, right in the beginning of it all. And so I was lucky enough to be right during the boom. And so for me, I've immersed myself in the last 10 years into the digital direct-to-consumer space, and 5 years ago I became on the service side. So not only have I do I continue to launch, I've launched over 50 or 60 different product lines in the last decade, but I've also been on the service side. So we're actually marketing for them, we're the logistics company, and we're shipping the products for them, we're managing the customer support, we're giving them the merchant processing and managing the risk mitigation. So we're a full service agency now with the various companies I have.
With the creation of his company, AdExchange, a performance-based digital direct response marketing company, Nguyen's business is the epitome of why marketing helps businesses grow. Nguyen received the Ernst & Young Entrepreneur of the Year award, and it was something that made him extremely proud to win.
Ever since I've been an entrepreneur, so even before I was an entrepreneur, the one award that I've always wanted, to me, it was winning the NBA championship ring, or was the Ernst & Young Entrepreneur of the Year. That's been on my radar for now 20 years. And so fortunately this past year, I was able to receive and win it this year. And so it was a big deal for myself. It's been a long journey, and so I felt like I achieved the pinnacle of what I wanted to achieve. Along the way, we weren't shy of winning other awards, and pretty much most of the awards that we entered, we pretty much won, and usually won gold or first place. And so
Nguyen's company also was the winner of Pillar Awards Best Overall Employer of the Year 2 years in a row. They also won the 2018 Stevie Gold American Business Awards for Company of the Year out of all large advertising, marketing, and public relations firms.
I'm very ambitious, so I always say think and dream big, but start small. Because sometimes having too much of a lofty goal, I want to be a billionaire, I want to be a millionaire, whatever it may be, right? And you're still trying to, so I would set your goals 90 days out, right? Yes, I have that big dream over here, but some people spend so much time dreaming here that they forget that during that 24 hours you have, that we all share equally, right? That what you do in that 24-hour time frame and how much you maximize that, that's more important. So for me, my goal isn't an X dollar figure. I really never have X dollar figure goals. Like I might have to do projections for an investor or whatever, but for me it's like, my goal is every single day I walk through the door, I wake up in the morning until I close my eyes at night, I'm giving my 110%. That's my goal. And as long as I'm doing that every single day, you're gonna be much further than the other 99.9% of the people who don't do that. They give them their 50 or 60 or 30%. So for me, my success has been the consistency in giving my 110 every single day the good days, the bad days, the ugly days, the hard days, right? So for me, if you're consistent in that, you become the superstar, because not many people can do that.
For Nguyen, being in the right place at the right time and creating a business out of need helped propel him to his success.
That's exactly right. Like, I was one of the largest customers on the other service providers, and so I saw what was missing. Like, they weren't thinking like a product owner would think, and so they've never been one before, and so I saw the glaring gaps, lack of innovation, technology, and all the services and the things that they would actually need. And so when starting AdExchange, we quickly became that dream service provider for all the product owners, and we were more product owner focused than maybe the marketing focus. And so for us, that was an added advantage for us, myself with my background. And so that's what launched us, and that's what we became the fastest growing marketing firm in history. We went from 0 to $100 million in 19 months. And we continue to sustain that growth.
For those looking to join in the entrepreneurship realm, Nguyen says you need to be persistent and drown out the noise.
A large part of my success was I wasn't afraid to make mistakes, and I made it fast, I made it quick, and most importantly, I learned from them. And so, like, I wanted to get all the mistakes out quicker, and hopefully when you do it at a smaller scale, it doesn't hurt as much versus doing it at a much larger scale. So for me, and then learn from them. And so I think out of enough trial and error for me, when you learn exactly what not to do, and you had some wins along the way, then you also kind of gets easier figuring out what is working right. And for me, that's definitely one of the keys, is like just not being afraid to fail, but mitigating your risk so each mistake doesn't hurt as much, right? And so that's one side. The other side is like, all of that requires grit, and which is the most important aspect, I would say, as an entrepreneur. Like they say, as far as CEOs, then that's the #1 quality any CEO, any effective CEO needs to have, is grit. And for me, grit means, you playing to win, but at the same time knowing that you have the tenacity to continue to every single day inspire, motivate yourself during the hard times.
He says he can still remember the moment he realized the company he was working on had made it, and it came in a simple moment, but one that he will never forget. Nguyen is branching out and continually creates businesses and invests. To date, he has over 900 employees and recently signed a deal in the energy sector in Mexico.
We have an energy project that we're doing in Mexico that's going to provide 170,000 new jobs in Mexico. And so, like, the various companies are also getting larger, and the impact that we're making is much larger. And so when it comes to company retention and culture, I think our environment is very different than a typical corporate environment. And it's a little bit even different than a typical startup environment. We kind of have the best of both. One, and even though there might be a startup, but it's backed by strong, backing. One, we're not VC funded in anything, so we don't borrow money to start typically, and so it's usually my own money. And so the other thing that's exciting is we have a results-oriented work environment. All that means is, like, most people in our office do not have to come in at a certain time or leave at a certain time. They don't have to clock in and clock out. They can work from home. And we have an environment that we always say family first. And so that's a very important part. That's part of the culture I've raised in, and being Vietnamese American. And so for me, we really cater towards that. And so as long as they're getting their work done, we're getting the results that we need to. I'm not gonna, and none of our managers are gonna push hard on, like, why are you in late and whatnot. And so we built that type of environment that really caters and fosters towards really talented people who really want to be here, and attract some of the best people.
In addition to the work he currently does, Nguyen is a frequent motivational speaker and makes sure he gives back to the community by donating when he can.
The sweet spot as an entrepreneur, or the sweet spot in life, is affinity, merging your affinity, which is your passion, which doesn't feel like work, right? Your ability, your skills, your God-given skills and talents, and also the learned ones, and then the opportunities out there. And so when you blend all three of those, affinity, ability, and opportunity, that's when you truly find your sweet spot in life. And so to me, I've been a strong proponent of teaching people that. And once you find that sweet spot, you're gonna take the bull, the bull by the horns, and you're gonna be able to achieve anything. You'll have the grit, during the hard times. And so for me, forget all the naysayers, remove all the what I call the crabs in your life. The crabs are the people that bring you down, and sometimes it is your parents. And I'm not saying cut them off. What I'm saying is just like avoid the noises, because entrepreneurship journey is hard. There's gonna be hard times, and if you listen to all the friends or the families who don't want you there, then it's going to start to eat you up alive, and you're not going to be able to rebound and have the grit necessary. So for me, surround yourself with positive people, supportive people. That's very, very key, and build that tribe around you to support that support system, because that's going to allow you to get anywhere in life. And this is the important aspect, that parents think that education is like your key to success, and I think that's there's some truth of that, but there's what I think most people forget about is there's intelligence and education, and there's also like EQ and emotional and having the street smarts and connecting with people and that side, and most people don't understand that side, and most parents don't understand that in the Asian culture. And so I think large part of my success is being able to connect with people and relate with different forms of people. And so for me, growing up, that's one thing that I would love to see more from Vietnamese parents is enabling them, encouraging them not just about school, but also allowing them to follow their true passions, because I think Vietnamese Americans are some of the most talented, creative, entrepreneurial, ethnicity in the entire planet.
Talk about great advice from a young and inspirational leader, and proving that age can keep you from being a leader in any industry. Join us next week as we highlight a success story so sweet you have to see it to believe it. Until next time, thanks for joining us.